Here again, and this is the first time I'm going to be talking about our boy Shujinko. He's received some buffs over the course of MK1, but now that Chaos Reigns has come out, he received a pretty sizable one that made him kind of a lot more simple to use. It's extremely strong and makes it so no matter what you've charged up with him or what character you're against, you don't have to rely on this weird trying to know what your opponent's moves are and if you can use them effectively or if you have the charge, which theoretically has been buffed and is kind of strong, but now he has stuff that he can always do and is extremely strong, so no matter what the matchup is or what your knowledge of Shujinko is, you can use this really strong move no matter what, and it's strong for a lot of reasons. So this is mainly going to be from the perspective of Rain, but it's going to be pretty similar for every character. So the main buff that he received is now from his forward Kameo summon. You can go forward Kameo, up Kameo, and have this really long stun that does pretty decent damage. It's actually more damaging than Rain's regular ender, so Rain also uses it to end combos. But what's so good about this Kameo stun is that it's completely free. Because you can see, I can do it while my Kameo gauge is empty, and that's how Shujinko works. You know, he's empty, but I can charge him up and do my moves, but whether he's charged, half charged, or not charged at all, I can always do this no matter what, which is extremely strong, because just look at a regular B&B for Rain. Normally, average damage, now it does 36%. Pretty awesome, and nothing completely wild, but the fact that you can do that for no meter is crazy. But look at this. Getting nearly 40% for a meterless combo is pretty wild. And when I say meterless, not only did I not spend my own meter, I also didn't spend any Kameo meter, so I can just do that combo whenever I get a hit, as long as I have the execution for it. And of course there are combos that are easier than that to do, but the principle that you can get this kind of damage, consistent 35% from basically any hit you land, even if you're just doing something simple like this. You can just do anything into this, and Rain doesn't even have any crazy ways of using this long knockdown. For example, Noob Saibot can do his the portal throw, and that can combo from this. But Rain, even being able to go for just jump into the aerial string, can get so much damage from this from any hit, which is crazy. So no matter what hit you're always getting 35% now, and it costs you nothing. If you start adding in your own meter, adding in Kameo meter, it just gets easy 40%, even close to 50. So there we get simple conversion into 42%. Or another unique style of converting also gets you 40%, which is so good. And then once your Kameo gauge is full, then you can start doing the ridiculous stuff. And of course, this is where it really depends who your opponent is, because you get different moves depending on the opponent. And I really recommend just looking up Shujinko all moves. There's a lot of YouTube videos that just have a compilation of every move you can do with Shujinko. But there's a general theme where basically your down forward move is going to be a long-reaching move, projectile, or just something that reaches quite far, and it's going to have better frames than the actual version of that move. For Noob Saibot here, the slide is +5, even though it's, punishable regularly. So you can generally use the down forward version as just a general kind of zoning tool, or you can also use it as a pressure tool up close, because generally all of them are plus on block. And of course, depending on them, you can use them as mix-ups as well if you know that it hits low or whatever. But, good way of changing up your zoning depending on who you are. And then the down back version is what is going to consume all of your Kameo gauge. And these are generally two different types of launchers or stronger moves. With Reiko, you get a command grab that launches. But for Noob Saibot, you get the portal, and if you hold upwards, you actually get the teleport, which are both extremely strong launchers for various reasons. With the portal, for example, I can do buttons into the Shujinko summon, and you can cancel his summon into any special moves, and because his summon combos into this portal, any button I do will be able to combo into a full portal combo. And be something like this. Easy 34%, or you may notice that I didn't even use my free extension. So I could also add a little bit more damage like that. and make it close to 40%, because we can throw in that extension whenever we like. So yeah, extremely strong that you can just get that kind of easy conversion off of any 1-1. And what is good about the Shujinko summons is that he's got the forwards and the backwards one. The backwards one is a mid, and the forwards one is a high. And the high one is what can go into this launcher, and the mid one is, it goes into this kind of interesting like overhead. It's not really mix up because it only comes after that mid, but it's kind of like a safe special move you can use after things basically. Like if you just want to do some kind of pressure sequence, you can do a bunch of buttons into that and, oh, okay, don't do something that pushes you too far away. But then, you know, -7, a bunch of pushback, maybe you want to do that in pressure. But what's really good is that you can use these as easy peasy hit confirms basically. Particularly now with the forwards cameo. So whenever I'm doing any kind of sequence, I can just do buttons and go into the forwards cameo whenever I like, because it's -6, completely safe. And if I'm doing my string and I'm, you know, I'm really bad at hit confirming, I can just do the whole string into forward cameo, and if I see that it hits, I'm like, oh, let me just go into a full combo right now. No stress. But if I see the opponent is blocking and I'm like, oh, let me just not do the up version, and then I'm safe at -6. For the kick version, you do want to actually do the follow-ups, it's kind of the opposite. But what's good about these is that not only can they be cancelled into their follow-ups, like this meterless launcher or this safe overhead, they can go into the cameo moves. So I can just do this whole block string where I've just done like my mid string, into a mid, into a plus on block low, and continue my pressure that way. So you can use these strong cameo moves as part of your like automatic block strings that you're already kind of fishing for, because they can give you free combos as we've established. So you're fishing for it either way, and if you see that they're blocking, well then you can easily go for like a mid into plus on block special moves, or some characters give you different mix-ups. It's just like really, really easy to go for kind of not too complex pressure, because you can always just be going, oh, okay, I'll just do nothing, keep myself safe there. Oh, let me do the mid and go for a plus on block thing. Whoopsie. It's super, super easy. No matter what character you're using, you can kind of just mindlessly dial him in, and it gives you just kind of like a safe special move that you can cancel into anything. And this safe special move can easily go into a combo, which is just really, 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 really good. And just as a bit of an example of what you can get if you have some cameo gauge, that's once again a meterless combo. This time it did consume my cameo meter, but it didn't cost me any meter and it was 40%, which is kind of wild. And as a final note, the original kind of weird strength of Shujinko still exists. Oops, not refill, default. Where if you're in some kind of zoning battle, you can summon him out and you can make him do his meditations, because, you know, anytime you kind of get a hit, you can summon the meditate so that while you're doing the full combo, you just build up the cameo gauge super easily so that at any point you can throw out your cameo meter. But he's also really useful to use in neutral, because you can just bring him out and he kind of acts like an obstacle, like a kind of a bootleg ice clone or something, where he can just absorb some projectiles for you. So this is particularly useful in, you know, matchups where maybe even as Rain you get outzoned a little bit. So if I have Loop Sideball just throwing out some projectiles here, if I know he's throwing out some projectiles, I can start throwing out my projectiles, and even really late, I can call out Shujinko and have him absorb the projectile for me, and just start doing my own things. And of course, since I'm not like taking any of that hit stun or block stun, you can get easy punishes on things. So anytime I'm trying to do something, I can just like even really like get him out and summon my own projectile. Or if I'm doing a slow projectile already, I can just call him out during the animation, because, you know, it's an ambush. So he's throwing projectiles. Oh, I'm doing that. Let me make sure that's a punish, and I don't get hit by their projectiles. Easy absorb. Really, really strong. And so a strong thing that you can do, whether you're, you know, you're getting your hit and just summoning him, or part of your zoning, you're just calling him out and throwing him across the screen, and then you can start meditating. The only thing that's a little bit weird about this now is that if he has absorbed things, now you can't really tell when he can be summoned, because he's always grayed out. So with other cameos, when they kind of get hit by things, they have that grayed out effect, but he always has that grayed out effect until he's, you know, brought back. So you can't really tell when you go for the combos, but it doesn't really matter too much. And just show a few examples of some, you know, popular characters at the moment, and, you know, the themes you get with Shujinko. Down forwards, you get the projectile, and often you can do down forwards downwards or down back upwards, and you get different versions of the moves. So if you down forward down, then you get the flamethrower, and once again, The frames on this stuff is better than they are from the base character. Like this is -1 here, whereas it's usually completely unsafe. Down back, you get the big tele launcher. Down back up, you get this launcher, which is also like the EX version of it. And yeah, pretty common themes where, you know, you can just get a launcher with the down back. It'll cost your whole Kameo gauge, but generally you can get good combos from it. And down forward gives you some kind of projectile or move with slightly better frames than they normally get. Of course, there's going to be a few different characters, like with Cyrax, it's a little bit more unique because with down forward, so the half Kameo gauge, you actually get to use her bombs, which is pretty crazy that now characters can have bomb combos just like Cyrax can, as long as you're using Shujinko against Cyrax. Just how you can get Kenji's Cento stance, which is pretty crazy in my opinion, because I imagine there's a lot of cool setups you can get by summoning that out and then placing this on their Oki and double bombs and craziness. So yeah, down forward you get bombs. Down forward up you actually get this like spinning stance, which you can also, you know, hold down and go into the low or whatever. Down back, once again, we get a launcher, which is her home grab. This is once again easy way of extending into combos, which once again we can still use our meterless extender afterwards. And down back up, also a launcher, kind of unique. It's not something that she actually normally has. It's just like a modified version. But a strong tool and is possibly safe. You can't really tell, but it seems like Rain recovers pretty quickly. And just one final example of a, you know, very common character, Asha. Down forward, you get the projectile summon. Down forward down, you get the low projectile. Down back, you get a launcher. Yeah, the moves you steal, possibly you should study them. But the cool thing is that now, like the main point of this video is that you don't really have to, because his new biggest strength is something you can always do. You can always do high damaging, 35% or above, depending on your character of course, meterless combos from any hit. Extend super easily from your standing jabs, because this is a 20 frame special. It can combo from practically anything. So you can easily hit confirm. It's a safe special move on its own as long as you know, don't do the follow-up. It's just extremely strong and you don't need to worry about being a Shujinko sweat, and you can just do crazy damage. And if you do start doing the summoning him in neutral or using the opponent's like moves against them, that's just an added plus. So yeah, Shujinko, very, very strong. Might actually try him out now, and I suggest you do too. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.